Hello and welcome. My name is Carsten Lützen. I'm an agile coach, facilitator, whatever we call it. Today I will talk about one of these very important topics that has just gotten more and more attention over the years because we start to really see the problems with a high cognitive load. If you like these videos, please consider subscribing and sharing to my channel and on LinkedIn. That would be awesome. And as always, feel free to reach out. It's always great to hear from you. Anywho, let's get back to this cognitive load. I think one of the best analogies to talk about cognitive load is if we think of our mind as a browser, right? We can have one tab open and we can have many tabs open. The more tabs we have open, the less we are able to focus, the less we are able to take in of new information. And sometimes some of the tabs will just start playing music. Then we need to realize, where is that thing coming from? And then make sure to clean it up and stop it again so we can focus on whatever tab we were actually trying to focus on. Or one of the tabs create a pop-up message that all of a sudden takes focus from us and so on. So we need to limit the number of open tabs at any given point in time. And especially as facilitators, we have a quite high responsibility when we're facilitating workshop meetings and so on. We generally talk about three different types of cognitive load. The intrinsic load, which is this complexity of the topic at hand. A lot of us facilitate teams where the topics are quite technical and specific, and something where you really need to make sure that your head is in the right space. So we often deal with a high intrinsic load. We also have this extraterraneous load where with unnecessary distractions, looking at the phone, poor structure in the meeting, that we're jumping back and forth, and also this German load, the effort that we need to put into getting meaningful context or information out of what is being discussed and talked about. So we as facilitators should focus on all of these three and how to make sure that they are in the right place. So some of the signs of a high cognitive load, and I know it from myself, zoning out. When I just can't take in new information or more information, I start to zone out. Simple as that. Multitasking, looking at my phone, looking at another tab in my browser, right? Minimizing Teams. And then when I catch myself doing that, I realize I'm actually zoning out. Why is that? And 9 out of 10 times it's because my cognitive load is too high and I cannot process any new information. So also too much info at a short time. I still remember from some of the lectures I had at universities, just one slide filled with a lot of statistics and math and whatnot. And there was so much information to take in. I could not internalize, understand and process it all at once. We need to make sure that the flow of information is in a steady pace where we can digest it, internalize it before we move on to the next one. Just because me as the facilitator or the teacher, right, knows this stuff doesn't mean that the rest of the group knows. The same when we're facilitating discussions in our teams. We might have 1 or 2 experts in the team, but that doesn't make the rest of the team experts. So we need to have a pace where they can also catch up and digest the information given. Poor decision making because of information fatigue. Again, when we get too much information, too much things we need to have in our mind and take into account, it just gets almost impossible to take a decision for a lot of us. Some will just say, okay, then we just go that direction. And that is maybe what we need in those situations. What we can do as facilitators and what we should do as facilitators is thinking about at least these 3 steps. So what can we do to minimize cognitive load before the meeting, during the meeting and after the meeting? So before the meeting, this is where a clear agenda in the invite. Keep it simple. It doesn't need to go through all the steps. Keep it simple so people know what to expect at what point in time. 3 to 5 headlines at most. And that will still give you the chance as a facilitator to change stuff if needed, because let's face it, not everything works out as we had expected. The second one is asynchronous prep work. So what can people prepare, work with in advance. Anything they can prepare, anything that they should read. I'm not saying everybody reads it, but maybe just give them the opportunity of also providing input in advance. Some of us need a bit more reflection time, right? So how can we think that into our meetings is often a good idea. And then set expectations. Why is it that we're having this meeting, and why is it that you are invited? We're going to make a decision on this thing. This is the goal of the meeting. Because then if things start to derail, we can say, I can see, I can feel that it's very important to you, but in this meeting we're focusing on that. If this is what we also need to talk about, let's make another session for that to make sure everybody that has something to say about that agrees and are on board. Then, during the meeting, how can we chunk this information in bite-sized cubes, bite-sized, snack-sized things that we can digest and use? We can do that in many different ways. For instance, we can limit choices, so we don't give like a gazillion of different choices we can use. We can also use visual aids like this or handouts, but we need to use them wisely. Also, how we facilitate is something that helps. So we don't present the entire world, but we present the things that is necessary to understand whatever we're working with. And a really awesome thing to use is pauses. So, and I didn't write it, that's a mistake. So pauses give a lot of time for both reflection, but also just straight out pauses. Just ask people to sit. Don't give them any assignment, just sit and look into what they find is relevant. Some of us need just to zone out. A good rule of thumb that a guy was sharing with me is that 10% of our meetings should actually be used in silence without a specific goal at hand. So for an hour meeting, that's 6 minutes. So how can we incorporate that? And that gives so much value. And then after the meeting, we should of course show what are the next steps, who does what, why, and then share a recap, but keep it brief. I've gotten a lot of recaps that are like 1 or 2 pages with a lot of information, but maybe only 5% of that information was actually relevant. So how can we also make sure that we keep this cognitive load low after the session? That's what we need to focus on. So those are some of the things I try at least to do when I'm working with facilitation, trying to minimize and manage the cognitive load. I'm super curious, how are you going about this when you work with teams and people? And if you have comments, questions, ideas, or feedback to these videos, please leave a comment or send me a message. That would be awesome. And that's it. Have a super awesome day.